It's gonna be so bad.
This is literally the third time I'm trying to film this intro, so hi! Hello my lovely friends and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Joanna, but you can call me Jo. I'm someone who very much is aware of the fact that I have bad taste, so today I thought it'd be quite interesting to go through the 1-star reviews of my 5-star reads. In all honesty, a book doesn't have to do much for me to give it 5 stars. As long as I enjoy it, it's already pretty high up for me. However, I do know that objectively a lot of the books I give 5 stars aren't the best thing on the market.
Just as I thought. Trash.
So I am slightly worried about what I'm going to be reading today, but I think it'll be funny nonetheless to go through the 1-star reviews and honestly see if I understand where they're coming from. I think that would be quite an interesting observation for today if that is the case. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Give me a like if you do, and subscribe if you want some more of me. Why wouldn't you? Let's go! To really hammer in the point that I have bad taste, I'm going to start with a book series that I discovered when I was in high school. I'm talking about the Fallen series. I'm really afraid for these reviews because I just know they're not going to be good. It says, I didn't like this book the first time I read it when it was called Twilight.
I don't like your face.
Yep. Pretty much. The similarities are very striking, to be fair. The second one I found here is from 2021. It's hilarious, actually. I'm truly at a loss for words, not really in brackets. Because chapter 15, this girl said, I would die for him, after saying she loved him when they had absolutely no chemistry or any connection. This man barely had any page time, and apparently I'm supposed to believe this relationship. What the fuck, I'm so mad. Takes breath. And I'm supposed to understand why this piece of bread... Not piece of bread. To be fair, Lucinda is a little bit stale.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
And I'm supposed to understand why this piece of bread has another love interest that is fighting for her affection. It's Twilight all over again, please. Crying emoji, crying emoji. Honestly, Taylor, you're right. I'm still going to indulge though. I pretty much started skimming the book after 100 pages. I can't believe I even made it that far. It's so bad that it has brought me out of my reviewing shell to say how much I disliked this book. You know it's bad when someone has to come onto an app and say that it's a bad book when they don't review books. Oof. This book is driving me insane. There's no logical reason for someone to behave like this. Well, the logical reason in this book is that they are literally soulmates.
That's love, bitch.
And they find each other in every single lifetime. That's the logical reason. And if that's not logical enough for you, then there's the door.
That's it. Bitch.
Now that I gave the spotlight to a book that I really enjoyed in my teen years, I think I'm going to be talking more about the books I've read within the past year that I've really enjoyed. I'm gonna start off with one of my favourite books of all time, Electro by Jennifer Saint. Here we go. The embodiment of go girl, give us nothing. For a story that's been told thousands of times, this is easily the worst version. Zero nuance, zero new insights into some well-loved characters. Reading the Wikipedia article for the Oresteia hits harder than reading this. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to go read the Wikipedia article for the Oresteia then, because apparently it hits hard, so.
Good evening.
This is barely readable. Well, if I managed, I think anyone could manage, so I'm sorry you had such a bad time with it. Elektra is an insufferable daddy's girl who is so strangely obsessed with her horrid father that she treats everyone around her like shit, and she's somehow the hero. Whilst I get this review, I also think it's kind of understandable that she cares for her father. He's a horrible, horrible person. However, he's very well known and he's a powerful figure. So for you to grow up knowing that about your father but not being in contact with him because he's literally not there, of course you're going to crave being with him and you're going to be excited when he comes back. No, I tried to like this book, but unfortunately it wasn't for me. Emoji. Fair. Probably won't be for everyone. I'm seeing a lot of discourse in these reviews about the fact that we've kind of had enough of Greek feminist retellings.
I don't want any more.
It's mythology, so it is all going to have a similar through line of morals, so I do understand why people are a bit tired of it. However, with Jennifer Saint, Elektra felt a little bit different. It's one of the rare books where the multiple point of view actually kind of works, because it actually provides a purpose and it gives us a better insight to the lives of these characters. But that's just me. I've literally just found a review that is contradicting everything I just said.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
And I quote, "It's not a feminist retelling if your female characters have no distinct personality or agency. It's not much of a retelling at all if you're just repeating the source material with nothing of note to add or say. I don't understand what the point of writing a novel with 3 POV characters only to have them be basically the same person in tone and personality. It's just dull." I think this is usually my problem with multiple POVs, where sometimes, because it's the same author, it just sounds very similar. I don't remember having this issue with Electra, but I think it's something that can very easily happen, so I'm not surprised that that is a point of discussion, basically. So now we're going to move on to a book that I really enjoyed last year. It gets special brownie points for me because it was the first book of this author that I actually enjoyed. I'm talking about Sally Rooney. I did not like Normal People. I know, scandal. And I definitely didn't enjoy Conversations with Friends. However, Beautiful World, Where Are You? Kind of hit different for me. But I think the reason it worked for me might be a reason why it didn't work for others. I personally think it was quite a distinct change from her usual style. So if you're coming into this book expecting another Normal People or even a Conversation with Friends, you're not really going to get that. And I think that might result in a fair few 1 stars. I have no idea, but that's what I think. Beautiful world, where are you?
Where are you?
This review kind of proves what I was saying. It goes, "When I was diagnosed with COVID, I thought that being isolated to my room for 2 weeks was the most boring thing in the world. Sally Rooney has now proven me wrong."
Sad.
I think it's hideous, boring.
As much as I like this book, I can understand this. For me, I really enjoyed it because I like seeing personal emotions and how people interact with each other, but for some reasons that's just not sustainable enough. They need a little bit more to sink their teeth into, so this doesn't surprise me. This is kind of the reaction I was expecting. Well, I've just been roasted. This one says, "Boring people rejoice. This is the book for you." Thank you, I will rejoice. This is the book for me. Thanks.
Avocado. Thanks.
Obnoxious characters who are supremely self-absorbed. Nothing really happens, but they manage to waffle on and on, brackets, and then on some more, close brackets, in emails, and then in person, and then in emails again. I only finished it because I thought something might happen. It didn't. Yeah, pretty much. That's why I like it. Ooh, I think I found possibly the most articulate review in the world. Oof. ... We're gonna end on a pretty funny and dramatic note. Wow, ... That was so incredibly bland and borderline horrific. I truly don't know how I made it through. I have trauma, in brackets, in my dramatic era. Me too. I'm always in my dramatic era, to be fair. Like I said, I was sort of expecting this type of response to this book. I wasn't disappointed. There's some pretty funny reviews in there. I still love the book, and I'm sad that other people have had a bad experience with it. If there's anything you need to know about me, is that I love an insufferable main character. Not always, only if they're done correctly.
Talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular.
We're going to be talking about one of my favourite classics, Emma. I've brought up the book because I remember that there is a specific quote on the blurb where Jane Austen herself talks about the fact that Emma is an unlikable main character. Although described by Jane Austen as a character whom no one but myself will much like, the irrepressible Emma Woodhouse is one of her most beloved heroines. Honestly, I indulge in characters like that because it's so beyond the realm of what is even acceptable now. But also, the thing to keep in mind with any of Jane Austen's writing, it's satire. It's literally how Jane Austen saw people in high society. So despite the fact that I'm expecting a lot of negative reviews talking about how unlikable she is, I also know that's kind of the point. One of the very first ones I found has already ticked exactly what I've said. Emma is an immature, spoiled girl who needs to get a life. True. Fam, ain't going to lie, I didn't even get past page 1. But I watched half of the 1996 Emma movie on Netflix, so I've basically read it. Fight me, Mr. Garcia. Who likes reading classics in school? Not me. I found someone essentially cosplaying as Donald Trump. Please rise for your national anthem. This is the kind of book that turns kids into virgins. Listen, I don't normally read books by chicks, but Baron's teacher told him to read this one, so I figured I'd take it for a spin. You better believe that teacher is out on her arse now. The broad in this book says more words in one page than I ever got out of Melania in her whole life, and the men never know when it's time to plough. Bad role models. Thank you, Donald Trump. Next. Cons. The run-on sentences made me crazy. Everyone speaks so properly. Zero connection to any characters. Mr. Knightley said he loved Emma since she was 13. Brackets, he was 30. Yeah. Bad. So many conversations about nothing. Wasted my spring break. I hated the main character. Pros. That's it. That's the review. As expected, most of the negative reviews about Emma are about Emma and just how she is as a character, which, again, I get, it makes sense. Next up, we have the book that really got me back into reading last year, and that is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I'm not really sure what to expect from these one-star reviews. I'm assuming a lot of it is going to be based on the fact that it's overhyped, but I also think it's popular for a reason, so I guess we'll see. Did you know that Evelyn Hugo has breasts? Tits of the boob variety? We ought to focus on that, says Taylor Jenkins Reid. And then we do. Yeah, pretty much. But also she was trying to establish the fact that Evelyn Hugo was a sex symbol of her time. It makes sense for her to focus on her boobies. We love boobies in this house. People on Goodreads are so dramatic, I love it. This one simply says, "My life is ruined. Thank you." Oh, someone actually replied to that review saying, "Your life was probably shit before this anyways."
Ooh, burn!
It baffles me why people enjoy this book. I want the hours back I spent reading this. Taylor Jenkins Reid writes female characters the way male authors often write female characters. Badly, unrealistically, unbelievably. This book was extremely disappointing. Skip this one and read something better. Whilst I do agree that there are some parts of this book where Evelyn is very much written in the ways that this review has described, I think she played to her strengths, and that's not unfeminist to say, and it doesn't make her a vapid and bad character. I get both sides. I get the fact that it does come across as if a man has written her in sort of a male-gazy type way, but it also does have a humane core of what it's like to be a woman in a male-dominated space, and the fact that sometimes you have to do things you don't really want to do in order to get to where you want to get. The most overrated shit. Told you there'd be one. Next up we have Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. With this book in particular, I am expecting more one-star reviews than others. The main character is not really sympathetic until she is, so I guess we'll see. Thanks, but ... no thanks. Eleanor Oliphant may be completely fine, but I sure ain't with this book. Rachel Berry gif. I was put off by how ridiculous Eleanor was, so completely immature and silly, over-dramatic, and the fact that she's my age? Hell no. Sure doesn't act like it. That whole scene where she's getting a bikini wax, ... don't ask, is so stupid that I couldn't keep reading. Didn't like the writing much either. The story was a little strange and it's just not my cup of tea. There's only so much Eleanor I can take. No wonder her colleagues don't like her. So much aggression in that one, oh my god.
Whoa, just take it easy, man.
I also thought she was a horrible character, and I'm glad that we eventually got to why she is the way she is, and we got to see her overcome that. I love the fact that this reviewer compared herself to the character in the book based on their age alone. That's really funny. I don't know why that's funny to me, but it is. Moving on to a book that doesn't really fit any of the other categories that I've talked about so far, we have Pandora's Jar. This book was a lot more educational, it focuses on non-fiction, so I'm intrigued to see what the 1-star reviews will be like. So fucking unfunny, all of yous who enjoyed this book are lying. Kiss. I don't think it's meant to be funny. It's a historical book. Kiss. It reads like a textbook. Yeah, it does. It also has pictures like a textbook. Not what I thought it would be. Disappointed because I really enjoyed the last book of hers that I read. I get this. I didn't realise this book was going to heavily focus on the historical aspect. I also thought it would be fictionalised. So I do understand that the book itself, in terms of the blurb and the marketing, doesn't really get across what this book is. I only have 2 more books that I've rated 5 stars so far, and I'm going to start with Ghosts by Dolly Alderton. If I had to pinpoint what I think would cause someone to give this 1 stars, it would probably be maybe the writing style. I think it is funny, but I think it could very easily toe the line of getting into obnoxious territory. I don't know, I am intrigued. Let's have a look. What a weird thing to voluntarily publish. I actually don't know what to say to that. Cringed my way through this. I didn't have high expectations, but was still surprised at how bad it was. The Emily in Paris of books. If you enjoy getting annoyed at how bad something is, you will love this book. Like I said, I didn't think this book would be for everyone. However, I think something being compared to Emily in Paris is pretty low. Yikes. Dreadful, cliched, and boring. Would be okay as a short article, but as a book, it is crap. Disappointing. Honestly, this is how I would describe myself.
Yep, that's me.
I think I accidentally left this book on the bus, so I didn't actually get to finish it. No love lost there. Oof. Well, hopefully someone else picked it up and had a good time with it. Last but certainly not least in my books anyways, we have Open Water. In the past I have described this book as a novel that I want everyone to read, but I can very much understand how and why it wouldn't be for certain people. I reckon that for this particular book, most of the reviews are going to be about the writing style because it's not something you see very often. Pretty much ticks off exactly what I just said. We have pretentious, opaque, androcentric, and infuriatingly frustrating read. That was a tongue twister, Miss Ma'am. Like I said, not really surprised at this. I do think sometimes the language in this book can come across as a little bit inaccessible, so the fact that people are saying it's pretentious, that kind of makes sense to me, where he does go on some long spiels about feelings and emotions, and whilst I personally think that's really beautiful and poetic, someone else might look at it and just want to roll their eyes. Oof, okay. I hated this book. It's so boring and pretentious. The author wants you to know that he's good with words and literary fiction. He doesn't shut up about rap music. I fairly enjoyed Convenience Store Women and Normal People, so not having a plot is not a deal breaker for me. However, the book itself was a problem. He tried so hard to have deep characters and thought everyone would think this is a masterpiece about humans and grief, but the only master thing here is my hatred for this crap. this is interesting because I think it does bring up the topic of no plot, just vibes. For me, Normal People was not a hit. Convenience Store Woman, I think I gave 3 stars. I can understand how this reviewer put them all in the same bracket. Fundamentally, they do have a similar crux. However, I thought the character motivations in this book made a lot more sense than in Normal People, for example, where it's just 2 really annoying people going around in circles with each other. Whereas here, you didn't have that element of miscommunication, which for me is a trope that I massively dislike.
Oh, don't cry, are you well?
It feels like lazy writing. So I enjoyed this relationship a lot more than Normal People. In terms of Convenience Store Women, I did enjoy the no plots, just vibes thing, but I also think this book did a much better job at exploring the mundane and often overlooked aspects of life. It still was more descriptive and made more sense to me personally than the topics discussed in Convenience Store Women. And also Normal People, where I think it suffers from the same thing. The way I look at it is kind of like an iceberg. In Normal People, it only felt like the very top of the iceberg was explored in some pretty basic language. Open Water really delved into the lower part of the iceberg. The author was able to extract a lot more linguistically and metaphorically that made me understand the feelings he was trying to convey a lot better than the other books. But that's just me. And lastly, to end the section of Open Water, but also the video, we have a very deep and thought-provoking review. It goes as follows. Yawn. It literally just says yawn. Have a pillow. Sleep. I genuinely had so much fun going through these reviews. I like the fact that whilst I really enjoyed these novels, I can still understand where people are coming from. Thankfully, the reviews weren't too harsh, otherwise I would have got upset and in my feelings, but none of that here for me. I, in fact, just had a good time. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Leave me a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you want, and ring the bell for notifications of when I next post. Okay. Mwah.